Okay, I had to admit, when I saw the stack of notes for today's deep dive, I hesitated.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I really hesitated. Look at the title on the source material, the Bhagavad Gita.
Mm-hmm.
My brain just, it immediately went to a very specific place. You know, religion, chanting, incense.
Ancient scripture.
Exactly. The kind of book you keep on a high shelf and treat with this. Like polite reverence. Maybe dust it off once a year, but you don't necessarily use it.
Right. Not on a Tuesday morning before a big meeting.
Never.
Hmm.
It gets filed under sacred artifacts or Eastern philosophy.
Not under productivity or mental health.
But then I started reading the analysis you pulled together here, and, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are emphatically not doing a religious study today, are we?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if you treat this text purely as a hymn to a deity or some kind of historical artifact, you really miss the point.
The utility of it.
You miss the utility. The lens we're using today, based on these sources, frames the Gita in a completely different light. It calls it a comprehensive, no-fluff manual for operating reality.
Operating reality. Wow. That is a massive claim. It sounds like a tech manual.
It is, in a way. Think about it. You have a user manual for your car, you have documentation for your software.
Sure.
But for the human psyche, for anxiety, decision fatigue, that, existential dread, imposter syndrome, what do we have?
You just wing it, mostly.
We just wing it. And these sources we're looking at today, they argue that the Gita is actually this brutal, practical deep dive into existential mechanics.
Existential mechanics. I love that phrasing.
Yeah.
So we're stripping away the sentimentality.
Completely. We're looking at the psychological frameworks, and frankly, that's probably closer to the original intent of the text anyway.
How so? What do you mean?
We'll just look at the context. This wasn't a sermon delivered in some quiet, peaceful ashram with birds chirping and fountains flowing.
No, not at all. It's set. It's set in a war zone, right?
It's a crisis management briefing, delivered on the edge of a colossal, world-ending battlefield. And the protagonist isn't a monk meditating in a cave.
No, he's a warrior, a general.
He's a warrior having a total, catastrophic mental breakdown.
Which honestly feels incredibly relevant to modern life. So the mission for this deep dive, as I get it from your notes, is to uncover what the source calls the secret.
The Raharsham.
And it's a specific secret about human agency, liberation, and this is a phrase that really grabbed me, how to hack the internal software of the mind to eliminate suffering.
That is the goal, to stop suffering not by changing the world around you, but by understanding the machinery inside you that processes the world.
Okay, so let's set that stage properly then. We are not in a temple. We're at Kurukshetra.
Correct. And historically, yes, Kurukshetra is a battlefield in India, but the source material is adamant that we have to read this metaphorically.
It's not just a place.
The battlefield isn't just a place in India 5,000 years ago. It represents the internal psychological landscape of every single one of us.
So the war isn't ancient history. The war is happening inside me.
Right now, between your ears, it's that conflict between what you should do and what you want to do, between your higher purpose and your, base instincts.
Okay, so if the battlefield is my mind, who are the players? We have this iconic image, you see it in the art everywhere, of the Prince Arjuna and his charioteer, Krishna.
Right.
Who are they in this internal version?
This is where the framework gets really, really cool. Arjuna. Arjuna represents you.
Me?
You. The listener, the user, the conscious I. And if you look at the description of Arjuna in chapter 1, it's fascinating. He's not weak.
No, he's the best. The greatest archer of his time.
He's competent, he's successful, he's a high performer.
Yeah.
But he is utterly paralyzed. He's standing there between these two massive armies. He's looking at friends and family he has to fight, and he collapses.
He drops his bow.
Drops his bow. He's shaking. He's dealing with massive anxiety, moral ambiguity, and just crippling decision fatigue.
I think we've all been Arjuna at 3 in the morning, Competent on paper, I know I can do this job, I know I'm an adult, but on the inside, you're just absolute mush because the pressure's too high.
Precisely. That is the starting point of the whole text, the breakdown. And then you have Krishna.
Okay.
And in the psychological framework, you can't think of Krishna as, like, a blue god descending from the sky to wave a magic wand.
So how should we think of him?
Think of him as the higher intellect.
The notes use the Sanskrit term buddhi.
Right, the buddhi. It's that cosmic witness. It's that voice of absolute cold clarity that's buried under all your emotional noise.
So it's the part of you that knows exactly what to do.
But you usually can't hear it because you're too busy panicking.
So Arjuna is the panicked ego, and Krishna is the cool, collected intellect.
That's the dynamic.
But they're in a vehicle Mm-hmm. We have to talk about the chariot. I read this section 3 times
Yeah.
because that metaphor is so layered. It's not just a ride. It's a system map of the human being.
It's the whole hardware and software stack. So
Yeah.
picture the chariot itself.
Okay. That's the body, the physical casing, the thing that gets damaged, the thing that needs fuel. Okay, the chassis is the body. Simple enough.
Now, what pulls the chariot?
The horses?
The horses. And the source identifies the horses as the senses.
The 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell.
Exactly. And just think about the nature of horses for a second. They're powerful, but they're skittish. They're wild.
And they all want to go in different directions.
Crucially, yes. They want to pull in every direction. One horse sees something pretty and yanks left. Another smells food and pulls right. Another one hears a notification ping from a phone and lunges forward.
If you've ever tried to walk past a bakery when you're on a diet, or just tried to keep your eyes off your phone when you're meant to be doing deep work, you know exactly what that pull feels like. It feels physical.
It is physical. The horses create the drag.
Yeah.
Now, connecting the horses to the chariot, you have the reins.
Okay.
The reins represent the mind, the manas.
Wait, so the mind is separate from the intellect? I usually use those words interchangeably.
In this model, they are very, very different. The mind, or manas, is just the interface. It's the emotional sensorium.
What does that mean?
It processes feelings, doubts. It's the part that feels the tug of the horses. It registers, I want that, or I hate that. It's purely reactive.
So the mind is the emotional responder.
Highly reactive. And here's the glitch in the human system. This is the reason we suffer. The reins, the mind, are often just floppy.
Slack.
They go slack. They fail to control the horses, the senses, unless they are held tight by the driver.
And the driver is the intellect, the booty.
Yes. The driver is the faculty of discrimination, of decision-making. The driver is supposed to be in charge. But in most of us, what's happened?
The driver is asleep at the wheel.
The driver is asleep or drunk or busy looking at the map while the horses are running full tilt off a cliff. So the reins go slack. The horses realize, hey, nobody's pulling back.
And they go wild.
They go wild. They drag the chariot, your body, your life, straight into a ditch.
And the ditch is reality crashing down.
The ditch is suffering. The ditch is addiction, it's rage, it's scrolling social media for 4 hours when you meant to work on your novel. And all of this leads to the core problem that the Gita is trying to solve.
Which is?
Mistaken identity. You, the conscious I, you think you are the horses, or you think you are the reins. You mistake the movie of your life for your own identity.
So you say, I am hungry.
When actually, your stomach is signaling hunger to the mind. You say, I am angry, when in reality, your mind is experiencing a wave of emotion.
That seems like, I don't know, a linguistic trick. I am hungry versus my body is hungry. Does that distinction actually matter in the real world?
It matters if you want to be free. It is the entire difference between watching a hurricane from a secure underground bunker and standing naked in the middle of it. If you are in the hurricane, the rain hurts, the wind throws you around. If you're just watching it on a screen, it's just data. The Gita teaches you how to get into the bunker.
Okay, so that is the setup. We're in a chariot, the horses are going nuts, the driver's asleep, and we are heading for a cliff. And now, out comes the manual.
Exactly.
So let's get into part 1, which the source calls the core secret, the Rahashyam.
Rahashyam.
When I read this part, I actually had to put the notes down and just stare at the wall for a minute because it's offensive to my ego. It really is.
It usually is. It cuts right to the bone.
The source claims the central revelation is this: you are not the doer.
And this is, without a doubt, the hardest pill for the modern Western mind to swallow. We are raised on the cult of individual agency.
I did this.
I built this company. I made this happen. My success.
And the Gita just walks in and says,
no, you did.
So if I didn't do it, who did? or what did?
And that's the central conflict, right? Determinism versus free will. The source argues that the root of all of our anxiety, Arjuna's anxiety right there on the battlefield, is the illusion that we control the results of our actions.
We obsess over the result.
We don't just obsess. We stake our entire sense of self on it. We obsess over what the Gita calls the fruit. Will I get the promotion? Will this deep dive be a hit? Will she say yes? Will the stock market go up?
And the Gita's answer is, what? You don't get a vote.
It lays down what it calls a mechanical law. Not a suggestion, a law. You have the right to the action alone, never to the fruits.
You have the right to the work, but not to the reward.
That's the one.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here. That sounds incredibly depressing. It sounds like being a cog in a machine, a robot. If I don't get the reward, why am I working 80 hours a week?
Right.
Why am I trying to be better? If the outcome is already written or just totally out of my hands, shouldn't I just stay in bed?
And that is the classic logical reaction. If I can't control the outcome, I'll just sit on the couch. But that's fatalism. The Gita flips it completely. It's not about denying that the reward exists or that it's nice.
So what is it about?
It's about where you allocate your mental energy. The source calls this mechanical, not poetic.
Break that down for me. How is it mechanical?
Okay, think of your brain as a computer with a limited amount of RAM.
All right.
Let's say, for argument's sake, you have 100 units of mental processing power. If you are obsessing over the fruit, the outcome, you are consuming those mental resources. You are burning, say, 30% of your RAM just running a simulation of a future that hasn't happened yet.
The what ifs.
All the what ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I succeed and then I can't handle it?
So that's 30% of my processing power just gone.
Completely wasted on a fantasy, which means you only have 70% of your RAM left to actually do the task at hand.
So by worrying about the result, I am statistically making it less likely that I get the good result because I'm performing at 70% capacity.
Bingo. It's an efficiency paradox. The person who can genuinely detach from the outcome has 100% of their focus on the action. They are sharper, they are faster, they are more present.
It's a hack. It's a performance hack.
It is the ultimate productivity hack, the Gita is saying, reclaiming that 30% is how you achieve mastery, how you enter the flow state. But you can only reclaim it if you truly accept deep down that the outcome is not your business.
I see. So it's not don't enjoy the reward if it comes. It's don't process the reward while you're still doing the work.
Exactly. Do the work for the work's sake. The reward is a byproduct. It's none of your business until it actually arrives.
But the text goes deeper than just productivity. It diagnoses why we're so miserable. It talks about the trap of duality, the dvandva.
Yes. And this is the basic operating system that most of us are running on, the binary world.
Success or failure, pleasure or pain, good or bad, win or lose.
And we spend our entire lives running toward one column and desperately running away from the other. It's a constant, exhausting oscillation.
And the source has a pretty harsh truth about this running. It says running toward pleasure is automatically running toward pain.
Because they're entangled. They're two sides of the exact same coin. You cannot have the concept of winning without the terrifying shadow of losing.
So if your happiness depends on winning,
then your misery is guaranteed by the mere possibility of losing. You've signed up for both.
So as long as you play that game of duality, you are trapped. Up, down, up, down.
And that roller coaster just exhausts you. It burns out your adrenals. It ruins your judgment. It makes you incredibly fragile.
So what's the exit strategy? Because I can't just stop wanting good things to happen to me. I'm human.
The exit strategy is samatvam.
Which translates to?
The best word is equanimity.
See, that word equanimity, it always sounds to me like being numb. Like just sitting there like a zombie, not caring if my house is on fire. Oh, well, all is one.
No, it's not numbness at all. Numbness is a lack of feeling. Equanimity is a shock absorber.
A shock absorber. I like that.
Think of a high-end rally car. It hits a massive bump in the road. The suspension absorbs the impact so the chassis, the driver, stays level. Equanimity means you process success and failure as just data points.
Just data.
Success. Okay, that's useful data. Failure. That's also useful data. Neither of them changes your fundamental worth or your internal stability. You stay constant while the world outside fluctuates like crazy. You feel the emotions, but they don't drive the car.
That is much, much easier said than done.
Of course. Which is why the Gita provides a kind of warning map. The source outlines a very specific mechanics of self-destruction from Chapter 2. It's like watching a line of dominoes fall, and it is frighteningly accurate.
I have the list here. It's a causal chain. Let's walk through it because I think everyone will recognize this sequence. It starts with contemplation.
Right. Step 1, contemplation of an object of the senses. You scroll past a photo of a new watch on Instagram, or you see a job posting with a huge salary. You just think, that looks nice.
Totally harmless.
Seems harmless. But then comes step 2, attachment, sangha. You keep looking at it. You start imagining yourself wearing it, driving it, having that job title. You think, I need that to feel successful.
Okay, the hook is in.
The hook is in. Step 3, desire. Come on. The need becomes a craving, a burning thirst. You are now actively chasing it. Your happiness is now officially mortgaged on getting this thing.
It still feels like, normal human behavior. wanting things.
It is. But here's the pivot point. Step 4. What happens when that craving is blocked? What happens when you can't afford the watch or someone else gets the job?
Anger.
Krodha. You get mad. It's not fair. Why them and not me? The system is rigged against me. And from that, anger comes step 5. Delusion. Moha.
To find delusion in this context, it's not like clinical delusion.
No. It means the loss of the ability to judge right from wrong. When you are in a rage, you are functionally delusional. You say things to your spouse you can never take back. You send that career-ending email to your boss. You make reckless trades in the stock market to get back what you lost.
You completely lose the plot.
You lose the plot. And that leads directly to step 6. Loss of memory. You forget your values. You forget who you are. You forget your long-term goals because you are so consumed by this immediate burning anger.
And finally,
step 7. Destruction of intellect. Buddhinasha. The driver has been thrown from the chariot. You are now operating on pure, raw animal instinct. And step 8 is simple. Ruin. Total collapse.
Wow. From looking at a picture on your phone to total ruin in 8 steps.
And the source says the practical application here, the hack, is that you have to catch this process early.
You can't stop it at step 7.
No way. Once the biochemical reaction of anger step 4 floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, it's mostly game over. You're just riding the explosion down. You have to catch it at step 1 or 2.
You have to catch yourself just contemplating.
Exactly. You have to develop an internal alarm that goes off and says, oh, I'm contemplating. I'm starting to attach my happiness to this outcome. And you have to mentally say, delete file.
Stop the domino before it even wobbles.
That is the only place you have real agency in the whole chain.
Okay, so that's the mechanism of the breakdown. But let's talk about the operating system itself. The notes mention something called the 3 gunas. This seems to be the core of the psychological profiling in the Gita.
It is. It's fundamental. The source explains that you, the biological machine, are constantly being driven by 3 fundamental modes or energies. We like to think we have one, fixed personality, but the Gita says no, you are a shifting mix of these 3 distinct gunas.
So they're like filters or moods that wash over us.
They're more like operating modes for your entire system. Let's break them down. First, you have sattva.
Sattva.
Sattva is the mode of balance, light, intelligence. When you're in a sattvic state, you feel calm, clear, focused, and genuinely happy. Action you take in this mode is done for the sake of duty or for the love of it without ego.
And the result?
The result is wisdom and peace. It's when you're in the flow state or lost in a good book or having a deep connecting conversation.
Sounds like a pretty good place to be. Okay, then we have rajas.
Rajas is the mode of passion, motion, and anxiety. It's high energy, but it's a restless, striving energy. This is action done for a reward. It's painful effort.
Like the grind.
It's, I'm grinding so I can get rich, I'm hustling to get ahead.
The source specifically notes this is the trap of modern hustle culture.
It absolutely is. The modern world is a Rajas generating machine. Notifications, deadlines, 24-hour news cycles, caffeine. Rajas creates stress and greed. It's the energy of more, more, more. It gets things done, but it burns you out.
And the third one, tamas.
Tamas is the mode of inertia, darkness, and confusion. This is laziness, procrastination, brain fog. Action in a tamasic state is either reckless and thoughtless or just negligent.
So, hitting the snooze button 5 times in a row.
That is peak tamas, doom scrolling on the couch at 11 p.m. when you know you should be sleeping. Tamas, eating junk food because it's easier than cooking a real meal.
Tamas. So nobody wants to be in tamas.
Well, we all visit there. It's the default state of a tired mind or a poorly fueled body.
So what is the goal of this system? Is it just to be sadvik all the time, floating on a cloud of bliss?
The source outlines a very practical progression. If you are stuck in tamas, in laziness, in depression, you cannot just jump straight to sattva. You can't meditate your way out of a deep slump.
Yeah, what do you need?
You need rajas. You need fire.
You need to move.
Yes, you need to go work out, go for a run, clean the whole house, do something difficult to break the inertia. You literally use the anxiety of rajas to kill the laziness of tamas.
That's fascinating. So rajas isn't bad, it's a tool.
It's a tool to get out of the mud. Then, once you're in rajas, you're active, you're moving. You use discipline and awareness to regulate that fire and reach sattva, which is balanced, productive peace.
But that's not the end of the line.
No. And here is the ultimate secret that the source emphasizes. The final goal is to transcend even sattva.
Go beyond the good vibes.
Yes. To become the witness. To be able to stand back and say, my rajas is high today. as a factual observation, like reading a weather report.
Instead of saying, I am a stressed out person.
Exactly. You disidentify from the energy entirely. You watch the gunas play their game, but you realize you are not the game.
That leads us perfectly into part 3, the algorithm of action. The source talks about karma yoga. Now, I usually think of yoga as, stretching in tight pants, or karma as this vague, what goes around comes around idea. But here, it's defined as a psychological hack to enter a flow state.
Yes. We have to forget the westernized, watered-down definitions. Karma simply means action. Yoga means union or connection. So karma yoga is the art of acting in perfect harmonious union.
We touched on this with the fruit of action, but let's go deeper into that efficiency paradox. The source says worrying about winning consumes mental RAM.
Let's use a clear example. Think about a professional athlete. A soccer player taking a penalty kick in the World Cup final.
Okay, maximum pressure.
The highest pressure imaginable. If in that moment of running up to the ball, they're thinking, if I miss this, the fans will hate me, my country will hate me, my contract might not get renewed, I'll be a failure for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
What happens to their body?
They tense up, they lose fluidity, they choke.
They choke
Yeah.
because their brain is busy processing the future, the fruit, instead of being 100% in the present moment of the kick. The yogi's advantage is allocating all 100% of their attention to the process.
And by paradoxically not caring about the result.
Yeah, they become far more likely to achieve the best result.
It's that mercenary versus master distinction you have in the notes.
Yes. This is a great way to think about it. The mercenary works only for the paycheck, for the fruit. He does the bare minimum required to get the reward.
Okay.
The master works for the excellence of the work itself.
Give me an example outside of sports.
Take a software coder. The mercenary coder writes sloppy, inefficient code just to meet the deadline and get their bonus. The master coder writes clean, elegant, beautiful code because she cares deeply about the craft itself. Now, who do you think burns out?
The mercenary.
Always. Because the external reward is never, ever enough. The master has infinite energy because the work itself generates its own fuel. It's a positive feedback loop.
The source uses a specific term here, yajna, or sacrifice, viewing action as an offering.
In the old days, yajna meant literally throwing grains or butter into a sacred fire for the gods. The Gita completely upgrades this technology. It says, make your work the offering.
How do you do that, practically speaking, if you're, say, filing TPS reports?
You shift the why. If you are cleaning a floor, you aren't cleaning it to finish the chore so you can go watch TV. You're cleaning it to make the floor perfect. The state of cleanliness itself is the offering you make to the system, to the universe, to reality itself.
So it shifts the focus from, what do I get out of this, to how perfectly can I execute this?
And in doing so, it removes the ego from the equation. You aren't doing it for you. You are a conduit serving the moment. It transforms drudgery into a form of art.
Okay, so that's the philosophical software. But let's get into the hardware. Part 4, Advanced Protocols, Biohacking Consciousness. This part really surprised me. I did not expect the Bhagavad Gita to have strong opinions on my diet.
It's incredibly detailed about biology. It treats the body as a piece of high-performance hardware. The source puts it bluntly. Food is input code, not entertainment.
Input code. That is such a modern Silicon Valley way to put it.
And it breaks down food into the same 3 gunas. And this might hurt a little for some listeners.
Land on me.
First, you have sattvic fuel. This is juicy, natural, fresh food. Fruits, vegetables, wholesome grains, nuts. Foods that increase vitality and mental clarity.
Sounds good so far.
But there is a constraint. The source notes it must be cooked and eaten within about 3 hours.
Wait, 3 hours? My leftovers are in trouble. Who has time for that?
The idea is about prana, or life force. Freshly cooked food has life force. Old food is, energetically speaking, dead.
Okay, then what's rajasic fuel?
Bitter, sour, salty, hot, very stimulating thing.
So, spicy food, coffee, energy drinks.
Exactly. Caffeine, excessive chili, heavily salted snacks, anything that's overly processed. These things simulate a fight or flight response in the body. If you eat a lot of rajasic food, you are literally inputting stress code into your biology. You will feel jittery and anxious.
So my morning coffee is literally programming my body for anxiety.
According to this model, yes, it's revving the engine way too high.
And tamasic fuel. This is the one I'm afraid of.
Stale, tasteless leftovers, frozen foods.
Oh no. My weekly meal prep, I cook on Sunday for the whole week.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but according to the Gita, food cooked more than 3 hours prior, or heavy things like certain meats that can take up to 72 hours to fully digest, they induce brain fog.
They're tamasic.
They're tamasic. They pull all the energy from your brain down to your gut just to manage the heavy digestive load.
So eating leftovers actually makes me lazy.
It creates inertia in the system. Now, the actionable truth here isn't that you have to become a monk who only eats fresh-picked berries. It's about awareness. You cannot run high-level software like deep focus, meditation, creativity on hardware that is corrupted by tamasic fuel.
So if you're feeling depressed, don't just try to think positive.
Look at your input code first. Stop eating dead food and see what happens.
It's amazing how it connects the gut and the brain, thousands of years before modern science caught on.
Millennia before.
And it's not just food, it's sleep, too. The source calls it the middle path.
Right. It rejects extreme asceticism like starving yourself or never sleeping, but it also rejects overindulgence. It's about finding your natural biological window where you wake up alert without an alarm. It's about finding your rhythm.
Okay, so let's move from the biological to the social. Part 5. The physics of ego and social dynamics. This revisits that you are not the doer concept, but gives us a practical checklist. The 5 components of any event.
Yes. This is from Chapter 18, and it's a powerful reality check designed to break the ego's grip. Whenever an event happens, let's say you close a huge business deal or you win an award, your ego immediately pipes up and says, I did that. I am amazing.
Naturally.
The Gita says, hold on. Let's look at the physics of the situation. It argues that there are 5 distinct factors required for any action to succeed.
And what are they?
Okay, 1, the seat or the venue. That's your body and the environment you're in. You didn't create the planet. You didn't build the office you're sitting in. You didn't even create your own body.
Fair enough.
2, the agent. That's the false ego, the sense of I.
Okay.
3, the instruments. That's your senses, your mind, but also your laptop, your phone, the internet, the car you drove.
I'm already seeing a lot of things here that aren't me.
4, the endeavor, the energy and the specific effort you put in. And then there's 5.
Daivam?
The unknown variable. Providence. Luck. The total sum of cosmic cause and effect that led to this exact moment. The market conditions, the weather, the mood of the person you're selling to. Everything you don't control.
So I am only 1/5 of the equation.
At best. You provided the endeavor. But without the venue, the instruments, and Daivam all aligning perfectly, nothing happens.
The source calls this a hack for high-stakes events.
Yes. Before you walk into a stressful meeting or a big presentation, mentally run through this list of 5. The room is ready, my laptop works, I'm here, I've done the prep, and then you mentally hand the result over to the 5th factor, to Daivam.
It takes the weight of the world off your shoulders.
Completely. You realize you are not Atlas holding up the sky. You're just one player on a very large field.
That is a huge relief. But here's a counterpoint. If we realize we aren't the sole doer, why bother leading? Why not just coast? The source brings up Protocol 3, leadership, or Lokasamgraha.
And this answers that classic question. If I become enlightened, why don't I just go sit in a cave and bliss out? The answer is Lokasamgraha, which means holding the world together.
And the source mentions something called the mimicry law.
People follow the actions of great people, not their words. This is absolutely crucial for parents, for managers, for anyone in a leadership position. If you're a leader, people don't just listen to you, they mimic your energy.
So if you're stressed and frantic, your whole team becomes stressed and frantic.
Exactly. If you preach work-life balance, but you're sending emails at midnight, what do you think your team is going to do?
They're going to be sending emails at midnight.
The Gita suggests a kind of vibrational leadership. You lead by demonstrating the attitude of the work sattva, not just by giving orders. You become the thermostat that regulates the emotional temperature of the entire room.
Now, on the flip side of good leadership, the source profiles the demoniac nature. And it makes a really interesting connection to modern psychology. It links the Azuric description in Chapter 16 to the modern clinical narcissist or sociopath.
The parallels are uncanny. The profile is chillingly precise. Arrogance, a big public facade of charity, doing good only to look good.
Right.
A core belief that the world exists solely for their consumption and enjoyment. And, crucially, an insatiable underlying anxiety about maintaining control.
I am the Lord. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. It's right there in the text.
It's all there, and the advice the source pulls from this is brutal and pragmatic. Do not try to change them. Do not preach to them.
Why not? We always have this impulse to try and fix people.
Because, the Gita argues, their software is currently hardwired for predation. You cannot save everyone. The advice is to deal with them transactionally if you must, or avoid them entirely.
Don't get entangled.
Do not get entangled in their drama. Don't try to explain the Gita to a narcissist. Just step aside.
That is no fluff indeed. Okay, let's talk about mental hygiene. Part 6 outlines the 3 gates of hell, which sounds pretty dramatic.
It's a clear warning system for the mind. The 3 gates are lust, kama, anger, krodha, and greed, lobha.
We touched on this with the destruction ladder earlier, but how are they connected as gates?
Lust isn't just sexual desire. It's the obsession with I want. It's the engine. Now, when that I want is blocked, it immediately flips into the second gate, anger. And if I want is fulfilled, it doesn't lead to peace. It leads to the third gate, greed, because it's never enough.
So it's a trap either way. If you don't get what you want, you're mad. If you do get it, you just want more.
It's a perfect prison. And the solution provided is what the source calls the turtle technique.
I love this visual.
It's from chapter 2. When a turtle senses danger, what does it do?
It pulls its head and its legs into its shell.
It withdraws its limbs. It doesn't stand there and try to reason with the predator. The Gita says when you encounter a trigger, a sensory input that sparks lust or anger, you must physically withdraw your senses immediately.
So put the phone down, walk out of the room, close the laptop.
Do not negotiate with temptation. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'll just look for 1 more minute. Cut the feed. Retract the senses into the shell.
That brings us to career aptitude. Svadharma. This is a huge topic in the source notes.
Sva means one's own. Dharma means duty, or nature, or law. Svadharma is your intrinsic nature. It's the grain of your wood.
And the source warns against paradharma, alien duty.
This is the cause of so much modern misery. We look at an influencer on Instagram, a CEO on the cover of a magazine, a tech billionaire, and we say, I want that life. So we try to copy their path.
But if that path contradicts your own nature,
it leads to emptiness and burnout. Imposter syndrome is the symptom of living a paradharma.
The notes mention archetypes. Can you explain those?
Yes. The text categorizes human nature into broad archetypes. Are you naturally aggressive, protective, ambitious? That's the Kshatriya archetype suited for leadership, military, management.
Okay.
Are you analytical, intellectual, studious? That's the Brahmana research teaching science. Are you transactional, good at creating value in exchange? That's the Vaishya business, commerce, sales. Or are you a maker, service-oriented, a creator? That's the Shudra artisans, craftspeople, builders.
But what if I'm a creative person by nature, but I'm stuck in a sales job for the money?
Then you're performing paradharma, and the text gives this incredibly stark warning. Better to die performing your own duty imperfectly than to perform another's perfectly.
That is one of the most famous and most misunderstood lines.
It means double down on your own nature. If you are a natural-born artist, a creator, don't try to force yourself to be a Wall Street banker just because it pays well. You might even succeed on paper, you might get rich, but you will rot on the inside. You will be psychologically hollow.
Let's move to part 7, resilience, faith, and the endgame. The source talks about titiksha.
Titiksha. It's often translated as tolerance, but it's much more active than that. It's active endurance, it's resilience training.
And the source compares it to the Stoic reframe.
Cold is a fact, misery is an opinion. The physical sensation on your skin is just data. The story you tell yourself, I hate this is awful, why is this happening to me? That's the misery.
So how do we train this titiksha muscle?
By using voluntary controlled discomfort. Cold showers are a classic modern example. Fasting, periods of silence. You intentionally make yourself a little uncomfortable.
And become anti-fragile.
You become anti-fragile. You practice being uncomfortable when the stakes are low so that when life inevitably hits you with a real tragedy, you don't shatter. You have a reference point. You can say, I know this sensation. I can hold this.
And what about faith? The source doesn't treat it as blind belief. It calls it cognitive orientation.
It's from chapter 17. A man is made of his faith. This isn't about which God you pray to. It's about what you value, what you admire, what you hold as highest.
The notes say, audit your heroes.
Exactly. Who do you look up to? If you admire ruthless corporate sharks, you are installing shark software in your subconscious. If you admire sages and philanthropists, you are installing sage software. You literally become what you worship.
There's a hack here for more emotional people too, the bhakti hack.
Yes, this is for those who aren't dry intellectuals. Humans are emotional engines. We obsess over things, people, goals, fears. Bhakti is about taking that powerful, obsessive energy and just flipping the target.
Transmuting the emotion.
Use the crack of a breakdown. When you are at rock bottom, anxiety is just laser-focused fear, Bhakti says. Take that laser focus and point it at the infinite. Turn the thought, oh God, I'm so scared, into, oh God, I am yours. It uses the high arousal state of fear to catapult you into a state of devotion. It turns the poison into medicine.
And then, the ultimate deadline. The death hack, or antikale.
This is the final mechanical law presented. Your last thought at the moment of death determines your next. Well, the source calls it your next file directory.
But there's a huge catch. You can't just cram for this exam at the last minute.
No, you can't live a life of greed and anger for 80 years and then hope to think peace and love as you're dying. Your mind will automatically default to its dominant groove, its deepest samskara.
So if you worried about money your whole life,
your last thought will be about your bank account. If you were angry your whole life, your last thought will be a resentment.
So the practice is,
Mamalu smara yudyaka. Remember me, the eternal, and fight.
And fight.
And work. And live. While you are in the battle of life, you have to develop a kind of cognitive split.
Yeah.
One part of your brain handles the spreadsheet, the lawsuit, the traffic jam, but the deeper part of your mind holds a constant connection to the source. You practice dying every day by keeping that connection alive. You don't wait for the end.
That is profound, and leads us right to the final verdict, Part 8, the hierarchy of power.
This is the chain of command for self-mastery. At the very bottom, you have objects in the world. Above them are the senses that perceive them. Above the senses is the mind. Above the mind is the intellect, the buddhi. And finally, at the very top is the self, the witness.
And the source identifies a glitch in how most of us operate this system.
The glitch is trying to control the senses with the mind. The mind is emotional, it's fickle, it's weak. If you use willpower, which is a function of the mind, to resist a cookie, an object, you will eventually fail. Willpower is a finite resource.
So what's the fix? How do you bypass the glitch?
You must use the intellect to command the mind. You have to go up the chain of command. You need logic and higher reasoning. You don't just tell yourself, I shouldn't eat this cookie.
What do you say?
You use the intellect to reason. This sugar causes inflammation. It violates my higher goal of long-term vitality, therefore it is not food, it is a mild poison. The intellect gives the clear order, and the mind, the good soldier, obeys.
And finally, the most radical piece of advice in the whole book, it's right at the end, in chapter 18. Abandon all varieties and dharmas.
Yes. After 700 verses of telling Arjuna to do his duty, to fight, to follow the rules, Krishna says, actually, drop all of it.
And the no-fault interpretation here is, stop overthinking all your moral calculations.
Exactly. At the highest level of mastery, you stop calculating. You stop weighing pros and cons and what's right and wrong. You simply surrender, Sharanagati. You align yourself so perfectly with the flow of reality that you don't need the rules anymore.
The jazz musician analogy from the notes.
It's perfect. A novice jazz musician is thinking about scales and chords and rules. A master musician is the music. They have surrendered to the flow. Krishna is telling Arjuna to live his life as a divine improvisation of the cosmic will. You don't decide, you flow.
And this requires seeing the metaphysical reality, that final distinction between the field and the knower of the field.
You are the knower, your body, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions. That's all just the field. And that terrifying vision of time the Vishwarupa that Krishna shows Arjuna, where worlds are being created and destroyed every second, it's designed to destroy the ego.
Which sounds horrible, but the source says it's the ultimate liberation.
Because if everything is going to turn to dust anyway, your reputation, your bank account, your body, the sun, the stars, then what is there to be afraid of? Why are you so anxious about a presentation next week? It frees you to act fearlessly because the worst has already happened. Time has already eaten it all.
So let's bring this all home. The summary of actionable truths. We have 5 big takeaways from this deep dive. Number 1, control effort only.
You have zero control over the market or the results. Accepting this doesn't make you weak, it makes you invincible.
Number 2, kill the victim mentality.
You are your own best friend or your own worst enemy. No one is doing this to you but your own undisciplined mind.
Number 3, work is worship.
Don't try to escape the world to find peace. Find peace in the chaos of your work.
Number 4, death is certain.
Use your mortality as a lens to focus on what truly matters right now.
And number 5, be a witness.
Watch your emotions like you watch traffic on a busy street. Don't jump in front of the car.
The final directive from the source is so powerful. It says, the Gita isn't asking you to be good. It's asking you to be aligned.
And when you are aligned with your Svadharma, your own nature, and with the cosmic will, the friction just disappears from your life.
And I want to leave our listeners with this final provocative thought from the source material. It really stopped me in my tracks. The anxiety of what will happen should vanish.
Yeah.
Because you realize it is already happening, and you are just the conscious witness designated to experience it.
Step out of the way of your own greatness.
That's it for this deep dive. Go operate your reality. We'll see you next time.